Five Nights at Freddy's has been around for over a decade at this point, scaring us silly and challenging our mechanical skills. But how does it work, you may ask? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. In this video, I'm going to go over basic mechanics and an AI breakdown, each night in their character's AI levels, and at the end, a 420 guide. Okay, so this is going to be a complete overview for Fnaf 1. I'll go over the basic mechanics and how the AI works each night. Then finally, an up-to-date 2026 guide to beating 420 mid-mode. So you most likely know how this game works. This video is a little tardy to the party, but here are the main mechanics of the game. You are in a small security office and must survive from 12 AM to 6 AM, which is approximately 8 minutes and 55 seconds, which is an ungodly long time, and Scott fixed this in later games like in Fnaf 2, 3, and 4, but at least for this one, it's 8 minutes and 55 seconds. You have three main things you can use and interact with throughout the night: the doors, cameras, and lights, all of which are used in different ways to help you survive. Use the lights to see if any animatronics are at your door, then if they are, use the door and shut it and make sure they leave and don't spook you. And the camera's intended purpose is to keep track of the animatronics and stall a few, but since the game was made in 2014, the keeping track of them on the cameras isn't really needed, at all, because the door lights tell you if they're there and you need to shut it, but its main purpose is just stalling some animatronics. Every night has a thing called power leakage, where your power just slowly goes down. And then on top of that, every single mechanic takes 1 bar of power, which will increasingly drain your power faster. And if you run out of power, you have between 6 and 53 seconds, and then Freddy whacks you. Now I'll break down each animatronic's pathing and how to deal with them. There are two main types of animatronics, and, Piss Freddy, but we'll get to him later. The first type are the door animatronics. These are Chica and Bonnie. When you see them appear at your door with the light, shut it, and then periodically use the light to make sure the coast is clear, and they'll teleport back to a spawn location that's in the map, and make their way back to your office. The second is the camera characters, Foxy and Freddy. These are a lot more nuanced, so I don't really go over their specific mechanics here, and I'll just talk about them in their own, character sections. But before we get into character specifics, there are two things you need to know about that control how the animatronics move during the night: AI rolls and intervals. First, I'll explain intervals. Intervals are pretty simple. Intervals are simply how often an animatronic has an opportunity to move. AI rolls are a bit trickier, but I'll do my best to explain them. So, each character starts the night with an AI level, which will be a number 1 to 20. Then, every single time one of their interval hits, they will roll a random number, 1 from 20. If the number is equal to or greater than their number, they move. If it is less than, they stay where they are. On earlier nights, this can create the illusion that the animatronics are just camping your door, but what's actually happening is their AI level is super low, so they're failing their movements to bonk on your door and spawn back in on the other side of the pizzeria. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's get to the door characters, starting with Bonnie. His interval is 4.97 seconds. Here's his movement tree. Pardon my diagram, I'm no Leonardo. Bonnie starts on the show stage and then progresses towards your left door. The dark blue lines are paths where he goes towards you, the black lines are paths where he goes away from you, and light blue lines are paths that he can travel on backwards or forwards. Okay, now I'll do a little example to try to explain exactly how movement opportunities work. So, Big B starts on the stage with an AI level of 6. 4.97 seconds pass, and Bonnie rolls a 5. He chooses between the 50-50, between the main party room and parts and service. His big ass moves to parts and service, 1,000 yard stares the camera for 4.97 seconds, then he rolls a 9 and fails his movement. On his next movement opportunity, he passes and moves to cam 2A. And seemingly sponsored by Steak, he passes the next one as well and goes to cam 2B. After failing 3 movements, he eventually does pass and make it to your door. You see him with the door light and shut the door. After an additional 4.97 seconds, he passes the movement, but the door blocks him from spooking you. Then he gets booted back to cam 1B, and this cycle will continue until 6 AM. The other door animatronic is Chica. I'm not going to go through a whole example because it's exactly the same and I assume you get it, but her two main differences are she goes in the right door and her interval is 4.98 seconds instead of 4.97 seconds. The green lines are ones she can go to and from, the yellow lines are ones that flow downwards, and the black ones flow upwards. Not really much else to say about the chicken. The only thing of note is the fact that when she reaches cam 6, which is the kitchen, she plays this audio cue. And that's about it for Chica. That wraps up our door characters. So we're gonna move on to our first camera character, Foxy. In my opinion, he is the most complex character in the entire game, and he also has the longest interval being 5.01 seconds. Foxy is extremely different from the other characters we covered. Instead of moving closer to your office every time he succeeds a movement opportunity, he progresses in stages. Stage 1, he is in Pirate's Cove. Stage 2, he is peeking out of Pirate's Cove. Stage 3, he is outside Pirate's Cove. In Stage 4, he isn't there, and at that point, he will charge your right office door. You must shut the door and wait for him to hit it. Every time he hits your door, he will take increasingly more power. First, 1%, then if he hits it again, he will add 5 to that 1 and take 6%, then the next time, he will take 11%. You see the pattern here. Every time he hits the door, he will take increasingly more power in increments of 5. Once he reaches stage 4, after 25 seconds, or if you look at cam 2A, he will charge the door. So if you notice he's in stage 4, quickly look at cam 2A, and then shut the right door. When he hits the door, it'll make this audio cue. Something to note that can help out a lot is you actually don't have to wait for the entire audio cue. Just the second you hear the audio cue, like the first bang, you can immediately open your door and you're safe. Now, how do you stop him? My viewers with eyes, you'll notice that you cannot have him just hitting your door all night, because he will absolutely devour your power. Bars, holy. So the way you counter him is actually pretty simple. Just be on the cameras when he makes his movement opportunity. If you're on the camera, no matter what he rolls, he will fail his movement opportunity and stay in his current stage. Also, after flipping the cam down, randomly from 0.83 seconds to 17.5 seconds, he will still fail his movement opportunities. Something to note that was a common misconception for a long time is the fact that you do not have to be specifically on his cam. Any cam will stall him the exact same. Which cannot be said for our next character, the man, the myth, the legend, Freddy Fazbear. Fire segue. Here's his movement tree. It's about as complicated as your mid-lane synaptic integration. The brown lines flow downwards, and the red one is when he attempts to enter your room, but your door is closed. Freddy is a very special goober. His movement interval is the shortest in the entire game, with it being 3.02 seconds. Every single time Freddy moves, he does a little laugh, a giggle if you will. But Freddy does have an additional equation attached onto him. It is 1000 minus 100x, where each integer is a frame. The x is his AI value. Here's a little example to explain exactly how it works. So, Freddy's AI is 1, so x equals 1. So 1000 minus 100 equals 900 frames, or roughly 15 seconds. So that is how long he will wait after he succeeds a movement opportunity to actually do the movement opportunity. Something you'll notice about Freddy's movement pattern is it's super linear. Once he gets to your door, he's kind of just there forever. Freddy is pretty different from the other two characters that go to your door. Unlike Chica and Bonnie, he does not appear at your door or your window. He'll just sit in cam 4B and attempt to get in your office. The only way to prevent him is to have cam 4B selected. You don't have to have the cams open, you just have to have cam 4B selected. Now the last character, Golden Freddy, you might think would be very, very important, because of lore and whatnot, but he is quite literally not even in the game. So, when going through the cams, every second there is a 1 in 34,464 chance that the poster in 2B will be replaced with Golden Freddy. Then when flicking down the camera, he'll chill in your office, jump scaring you if you don't flick up the camera in time. You really do not have to worry about this. You will not encounter this, ever, unless you're really, looking for it. Woo, we did it! That's every single character's basic mechanics for Five Nights at Freddy's 1. So now we're going to get into Night 1. Here's everyone's Night 1 AI level. The strategy for Night 1 is really simple. It's kind of just a tutorial night, so you can kind of just fuck around and you should be okay. Just make sure you're checking your cams every now and then and checking the door lights. Really, you'll just have to worry about Bonnie, but even then, it's possible no one even shows up. The last thing I want to mention about Night 1 is the power leakage. Every 9.6 seconds, you will lose 1% of power naturally. But that's about it for Night 1. Here are the AI levels for Night 2. I'm not really going to go over strats for the first 5 nights because it's like, just if you know the basic mechanics from the basic mechanics section, you should be able to just play it out. It's not too tricky. The only thing I want to say about this night, though, is I think Skarkotham was trying to make this like the Bonnie night, because as you can see, Bonnie's AI is a lot higher than the others. And the power drain for night 2 is 1% every 6 seconds. Night 3, baby! Alright, let's look at these greasy little AI levels. Finally, Freddy is actually in the game, so make sure you're checking Cam 4B. But besides that, the only thing I really note is that, unlike Night 2, Night 3 is actually Chica's night instead of Bonnie's night, and she's super aggressive. So for Night 4's AI levels, the only thing you really need to take note of is that Freddy's AI will either be 1 or 2 for the entire night. He'll have a 50% chance to be 1 and a 50% chance to be 2. This night has a very large difficulty spike, but just make sure you're keeping track of Foxy, and you should be okay. The power drain for Night 4 is 1% every 4 seconds. Night 5! That's what the game's named after! There's not really much to it. Just keep track of everything. Freddy could be kinda hard. Make sure you're checking Cam 4B. Just do all your basic mechanics, and you should be okay. The power drain for Night 5 is 1% every 3 seconds. Alright, let's move on to Night 6. Here are the AI levels for Night 6. The power drain is the exact same as Night 5. I'm not going to go into the technique for beating this, because the exact same technique that works for 420 mode will also work for Night 6. But do be warned, this is a relatively difficult night, and it will take you a good few attempts. Now time for the grand finale, 420 mode. After beating Night 6, you will unlock the custom mode. Set everyone to their max difficulty and bam! 420 mode. The hardest challenge Fnaf 1 has to offer. Alright, now let's break down each character and how to deal with them. We're going to start with the camera characters because they are dealt with in the exact same way. Dealing with them is pretty easy. At the beginning of the night, select Cam 4B and flick the camera up and down every single second for the entire night. This will completely nullify Freddy and Foxy. Make sure you don't flick the camera too fast or you'll get a 0 frame flip, and in that case, it won't actually count. So make sure when you do the flip, you see something on the camera and then flip down. Now for the first door character, Bonnie. After your power reaches around 97%, you need to start checking your left door light in between every single cam flip, and then just shut the door if Bonnie's there. Since his AI level is so high, he will guaranteed leave your door after 2 or 3 camera flips. Now that's how you deal with the first 3 characters. You might be asking, how do you deal with Chica if you're not checking the right door? Chica has to enter cam 4B before going to your door. So, every single cam flip, if you don't see her in the camera and only see Freddy, then you know you're clear. If you see her in cam 4B, keep checking it. Once she disappears, that means she either went to your door or another spot in the pizzeria, so go check the right door. If she isn't there, continue your Bonnie cycle. If she is there, close the door for 2 to 3 flips and then open it up again. And that's it. That's how you deal with every single character for 420 mode in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Just keep doing your cycle of cam flip, check light, cam flip, check light. If Chica's there, adjust your cycle, and then go right back to it when she leaves. Additional things I want to mention is Chica will always take precedent over Freddy in cam 4B, and the way Click Team works with the lights, instead of double clicking, click in one spot on the light, and then a different spot on the light, and that will turn it on and then off much quicker than just like spam clicking in one spot. Also, if you're worried Foxy's gonna get out because you messed up your cam flipping or whatnot, which happens all the time, don't worry about it. Just whenever Chica's at the door and you have to shut it, then you can take your cam off of 4B and check Foxy, because Freddy cannot enter if the right door is closed. And here is a little montage of me beating 420 mode. Alright, and that's about it. That is the 420 guide and a complete AI breakdown of Five Nights at Freddy's 1. And concludes my first ever YouTube video. I really appreciate you for watching. Gotta start the parasocial behavior early. And if you enjoyed the video and want me to make more, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. I would also like to say sources for this video are going to be in the description. Go subscribe and watch their stuff. They're great. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.